a city where wealth rises quietly above the streets, there is a family living beneath it. Not metaphorically. Literally. The Kims exist in a cramped basement apartment where daylight arrives like a visitor, never staying long. The street outside is close enough that drunk footsteps and careless strangers feel like part of their home. Even the air seems borrowed. Ki-Woo, the son, sits with a folded pizza box in his hands, listening to his parents talk about money, way people talk about weather. Always present, always out of reach, is Sister Ki-young watches the world with sharp eyes, as if she has already accepted something the rest of them are still pretending not to know. They are clever, they are capable, but cleverness does not always translate into escape. And then, one day a friend arrives, not with charity, with opportunity, a tutoring job. A wealthy household needs someone to teach English to their teenage daughter. The pay is dinero US, the kind of generous that makes it feel unreal, like stepping into someone else's dream. Ki-Woo hesitates, not because he doubts himself, but because he knows the door he's about to open does not belong to him. Still, he goes. The Park family's home is nothing like his. It is open. Bright, quiet in a way that feels expensive. There are no street noises here, no cramped corners. No sense of survival. Even silence seems curated. Mrs. Park greets him with the soft politeness of someone who has never had to be suspicious. Her voice floats, almost childlike, trusting. The house itself feels like a museum of comfort. And Ki walks carefully, as though he might leave fingerprints on the air. Their daughter, Da-hai, sits waiting. She is sweet, distracted, unaware of the weight behind Ki-Woo's presence. He begins tutoring, and something shifts, not in the lesson, but in him, because for the first time, he can see what life looks like when you are not constantly looking down. And once you've seen it, it is difficult to return to the basement. Ki-Woo tells his family about the parks, the wealth, the space, the ease. And slowly, an idea forms, not spoken at first, just uttering a quiet understanding. This house has room, this family has needs, and the Kims have nothing to lose. The first edition is Ki-young. She enters the Park home, not as herself, but as someone else entirely. An art therapist, professional, untouchable. Her confidence is effortless. She speaks as though she has always belonged in rooms like this. Mrs. Park listens, amazed, grateful. And just like that, Ki-young becomes part of the household. Not family, not friend. Something in between. Something useful. Something invisible. The Kims begin to understand the Parks in a way the Parks will never understand them. Mr. Park is polite, but distant. A man who believes kindness is enough. Mrs. Park is warm, but naive. Her trust is not wisdom, it is insulation. Their young son is strange, sensitive, drawn to things he cannot explain. And beneath all of it, there is an unspoken rule. They may enter, but they must never truly be seen. Still, the plan continues. The father Ki is next. A driver is needed. The current one is removed through suggestion, through manipulation so subtle it feels like fate rather than cruelty. Kati takes the job. He wears a suit. He grips the steering wheel like it is a lifeline. And for a moment, he looks like a man who has arrived somewhere. Then comes the mother, Chung-Sook. The housekeeper is dismissed. Replaced. And now, all four Kims exist inside the Park household like threads woven into fabric that was never meant for them. They move through the home with practiced ease. They serve meals, they give lessons, they drive, they clean. And the Parks never noticed the pattern, never noticed the closeness of their smiles. never notice that the people surrounding them share the same blood, because the rich do not look too closely at those who work for them. They see roles, not lives. For the Kims, it begins to feel like success, like they have outsmarted the system, like they have climbed quietly into the light. One night, the Parks leave for a camping trip. The house becomes empty. For the first time, it belongs to the Kims. They drink expensive liqueur. They lounge on the sofa like it was made for them. Kitaik laughs, a deep, unfamiliar sound. Chung Dash so-okates at the table like a queen. Kiwoo watches his sister, his parents, and something inside him loosens. This is what it could be, he thinks. This could be normal. This could be life. Above ground. But life has a way of reminding you where you stand. The doorbell rings. Late, unexpected. The former housekeeper stands outside, soaked from the rain. Her eyes are wide, desperate. She asks to come in. Just for a moment. Just to retrieve something she left behind. Duck Jung-suk hesitates. The Kims freeze. Because the past does not disappear simply because you've replaced it. It waits patiently. Housekeeper steps inside and the air changes. Not loudly. Not yet. But the warmth drains from the room, replaced by something colder, something heavy. She moves toward the basement, toward a door that Kims barely noticed before. A door that leads downward. Kiwoo watches her hand reach for it, and suddenly, the house feels different. Less like a dream. More like a trap. Because beneath even this beautiful home, there may be another level, another secret, another family hiding in the dark. The door begins to open, and part one ends here, on the edge of revelation, with the uneasy feeling that the Kims were never the only ones trying to survive. The basement door opens slowly, as though the house itself is reluctant to reveal what it has been hiding. The former housekeeper descends the stairs with the urgency of someone returning to a wound. Her footsteps are uneven, trembling, as if she is afraid of what she will find, and yet more afraid of leaving it behind. The Kims follow, not because they want to, because curiosity is a kind of gravity. And down there, beneath the polished architecture, beneath the sunlight and clean lines, is something damp, something unfinished. A space that feels less like part of a home and more like an afterthought. The housekeeper reaches a hidden door. Her fingers shake. Then she opens it, and what waits inside is not an object, not a forgotten possession, but a man, her husband, alive, pale, his eyes blinking like an animal that has not seen daylight in years. He has been living here, in secret, in the dark, surviving on scraps and silence. The Kims stare, frozen, as the truth settles into them like cold water. This house was never just a symbol of wealth. It was a layered world. Above, comfort. Below, desperation. And now, two families stand face to face, both parasites in different ways. The housekeeper begs, not for money, not for sympathy, only for secrecy. Because exposure would destroy them. And in that moment, the Kims understand something unsettling. They are not special. They are not unique. They are simply another version of the same hunger. Another shadow trying to cling to the light. But desperation does not create solidarity. It creates competition. Kelly Jung's comb cracks. Jung-suk's eyes sharpen. Kitak's posture stiff because there is not enough room in this world for everyone beneath the table. The secret cannot coexist, and suddenly, the evening unravels. Phones are grabbed. Voices rise. The basement becomes a battlefield of whispers turning into threats. Then a mistake, a slip. The housekeeper falls. Her head strikes the stairs with a sickening finality. The sound is small, but it changes everything, because now it is no longer about survival. It is about consequence. Above them, The rain begins to fall harder. And rain, in this story, is never just rain. It is cleansing for some, flooding for others. The Parks return early, their camping trip ruined by weather. The Kims panic. They scramble like intruders, suddenly reminded they are intruders. They hide beneath tables, behind furniture, holding their breath as the wealthy family settles back into their home, unaware of the war happening beneath their feet. Mrs. Park laughs softly, safe in her ignorance. Mr. Park speaks about something trivial. Their comfort is intact. And the Kims, pressed into corners, realize how thin the boundary is between belonging and being erased. Kidak lies under the coffee table, listening. Mr. Park's voice drifts down. He speaks of smell, not loudly, not cruelly, almost casually, that certain people carry a scent of the underground, a scent that cannot be washed away. And Kitaik's eyes shift. Because this is the truth no one says aloud. You can wear the suit. You can drive the car. You can stand in the sunlight. But the world will still know where you came from. When the Parks finally sleep, the Kims escape into the storm. They run downhill, through streets that grow narrower, darker, poorer. The rain becomes a torrent, and when they reach their basement apartment, it is already filling with water.